First, the news of the Nintendo Switch 2 delay of a product that necessarily was not announced, but there's a delay to 2025. So we're going to talk about that. And yes, internal delays do happen, but First, let's explore both sides of the most recent rumor. Now, we all suspected, based off of the rumors from credible sources, that the Nintendo Switch 2 would be launching in 2024. Eurogamer, VGC, Bloomberg, many other places did state that the Nintendo Switch 2 would launch in 2024 based off of their sources. Now, at this point, we have a rumor from PH Brazil where it started with stating that there's been game developers that have stated that Nintendo has moved this to Q1 of 2025. That followed by multiple reports from Eurogamer and VGC that they also have sources that report that Nintendo is moving the Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever else it's called, the sequel to Nintendo Switch or the next system, to 2025. So this all is very kind of shocking. Many people felt that Nintendo would launch the Nintendo Switch 2 in 2024. I also felt that as well. But of course, there's always room for things to move around. And once again, this is also a rumor. It was rumor originally that it was 2024. It was rumor, or it is rumor right now that it's 2025. But we're just going to have to once again wait and see. Now, if you're looking at Nintendo's lineup for this year in 2024, some people are pointing to the fact that, there isn't really much, so maybe it was going to launch in 2024. But even if they're launching in 2025, it's not like systems that are transitioning have a ton of games in the final year of their release. I mean, most of the time, there's really not much at all. So it's interesting to see the dynamic back and forth. Now, here's the most interesting thing. My take on this. Nintendo should probably replicate the Nintendo Switch in terms of its success or how it got to where it was in any way possible. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's go back and look at a little bit of history. Back in 2016, people thought that Nintendo would release the Nintendo Switch, the original system, in 2016. I had multiple videos, and there was reports of saying it's going to come in 2016, and I felt that it needed to come then. But Nintendo wasn't ready. They waited till Q1, March 3rd, 2017, to launch the Nintendo Switch, and that ended up being a good idea. And if you look at Nintendo's software for the first year of the Nintendo Switch in 2017, it was really good. They had a strong start with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which needed patches to really get up to speed when it comes to how it runs, but ultimately it got that. Then it got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which was fantastic. I think people at the time didn't know how big that game would be on the Switch, but ended up being the biggest driver and system seller for that platform, along with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Then right after that, you had ARMS, a brand new IP from the Mario Kart team. And then right after that, you had Splatoon 2, a sequel to one of the best multiplayer shooters of the previous gen for Nintendo from the Wii U. So they ultimately had a good, strong 4-game lineup within the first 5 to 6 months to help propel the system. And then in the summer, you had stuff like Pokken, then you also had Mario plus Rabbids, and then in the fall, you had some third-party stuff along with the big one, Super Mario Odyssey, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So that first 9 months of the Nintendo Switch was crucial. It had so many big games across the board that anybody could play. Nintendo is probably thinking that if they do end up delaying this, that hey, we don't have X, Y, or Z game ready that we want to slot in at this point within the first 6 to 9 months. We need to make sure that that game is ready to go. That's probably the biggest thing that they're looking at here. Now, I have seen some people say, well, wait a minute, they're making a huge mistake and they're having trouble transitioning from one generation to another. And I think, in my opinion, when it comes to that, it's like, wait a minute, if they're having trouble transitioning, that's all the more reason to delay things. When Nintendo starts rushing, that's when they get a little bit arrogant with what they've done before and say, hey, we sold 100 million Wiis. We can just launch the Wii U when we want, even if the software isn't quite up to snuff or ready. Or, hey, we sold 150 million Nintendo DS systems. We can just launch the Nintendo 3DS. Who cares if Mario Kart isn't going to be out in the first number of months? Or who cares if Super Mario 3D Land isn't ready? We'll just launch it with some third-party games and a Face Raiders app, and we'll be okay. No, not necessarily, right? So I think with the Nintendo Switch, they took the initiative to say, you know what? If something isn't ready, let's wait a little bit and let's get that launch lineup set. Because no matter what any of these people say online, these gamers, when it comes to third party and all of that, I get it. Third party is important. But the most important thing for Nintendo, especially when it comes to launching a system, is having that incredible killer lineup of games. Third party can be sprinkled in there to help out, but if you don't have big first party games that gets Nintendo fans moving to get them inspired to pick up the system, you're going to be in trouble. The Wii U tried that third party game thing, and yes, there was other issues with the Wii U outside of that, but they had a ton of big AAA or big ports from Microsoft and Sony systems, and that didn't work out, whereas the Nintendo Switch didn't have anything when it comes to the third party support that the Wii U had, and look how much better it did. Now, once again, the marketing was better, the name was better, the aspects of the system were better, the proposition of the system was better. I get all of that, but at the end of the day, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was one of the massive, if not the biggest reason that the Nintendo Switch took off. So making sure that you have that Breath of the Wild, that you have that Mario Kart, that you have that Splatoon and ARMS and those games that you need is the most important thing, and that's going to be so vital. So I can understand people saying it's a huge L when it comes down to not having Nintendo Switch 2 for this year and the Nintendo Switch not having as many games. I completely get that, but the bigger L is launching too early and then also not having momentum with your system, not having those big titles that people get excited about and people waiting around. Here comes the articles. Is the system failing? It's falling behind in sales. All these other things. So it's better off to take a bit more time to make sure that you're going to secure what you're doing than to rush something out because people say third party isn't doing anything on the Nintendo Switch and we need third party. People will play third party games on PC, on Xbox, on PlayStation. That's not the main reason why they're going to pick up a Nintendo Switch 2. Now they might buy it once they get it, right? Like the Nintendo Switch, you'll buy the games, but at the end of the day, once again, you need those big first-party games to really drive the system sales. And once again, I don't care what anybody says on the internet. I don't care what data they put out. The data that I have seen from someone who's covered multiple Nintendo systems at this point is that you need that killer app at launch, whether that's a Wii Sports, whether that's a Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, whether that's a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a Mario 64, Super Mario World, Mario Bros, whatever the case is, whatever that big game is that gets people excited, whether it's a big 3D Mario game, a Zelda game, an expanded audience game, you need something that's going to get people really excited and hyped from a first party standpoint. And that's how it's been on pretty much every Nintendo system or any Nintendo system that wants to have a chance at success, because this is the first ever time that they went into another generation having a combined R&D. And this is a big point that a lot of people don't really bring up enough when they talk about what the success of a Nintendo system will be, because before in the past and with the Nintendo Switch, many people felt that the system wasn't going to do well because of the Nintendo Wii U. They brought it up in the home console space with the Nintendo Wii U. They rarely ever mentioned the Nintendo 3DS or the DS because people felt that that was long history, and this system, the Nintendo Switch, is inheriting the console games. You're going to be able to play it like a console. Doesn't matter if the form factor, hybrid, whatever the case is, it's a home console in addition to a portable, a true hybrid nature of a game system. So people went into it looking at it from what did Wii U do? And the thing about that with the Wii U and the marketing and the sales and everything with that, and the difference is that the fan base was split. Wii U did not get all of the biggest games that Nintendo put out, all of the biggest system sellers. Stuff like Animal Crossing was on the Nintendo 3DS, Fire Emblem on the Nintendo 3DS, Pokemon on the Nintendo 3DS. Those are all games that Nintendo fans buy a system for, especially games like Pokemon and Animal Crossing. So when you don't have that, that's definitely going to be a problem. This is the first follow-up to a generation to where Nintendo's actually had all of their systems on one main platform, which is a big risk. Nintendo probably was sweating it when it comes to what they did back in 2013 and saying, hey, we're going to go forward with having a unified home console and portable. And this is the first time that they're actually following up that. So you kind of have to throw away all of the rules when it comes to system transitions when you have everything that's on the play. Whereas before in the past, it was like, well, yeah, but it might not get X, Y, and Z. It might not get this Pokemon game, or it might not get this Fire Emblem game, or it might not get this Animal Crossing game. Maybe they do Animal Crossing City Folk and another one, but maybe they don't, like the Wii U, which got Amiibo Festival, which isn't a real Animal Crossing game. Maybe there's a Metroid game, maybe there's not. N64 had no Metroid game. Wii U had no Metroid game, but the handhelds always had a Metroid game. The Nintendo Switch gets Metroid games, right? So there's a big factor when it comes to having all that development and your team on one platform, and this is the first time that they are going to be able to go into another generation with that unified architecture, which I think at the end of the day, that is what ultimately will make Nintendo successful as long as those games come and they're good. They've got the teams ready to go. They've got the games they want lined up in terms of planning and phasing and everything. And they've got the big system sellers to help sell the system. And of course, you still have to execute, which I think Nintendo's also taking some extra time to do with the system OS, with the online, with the account features, with the syncing. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But once again, it's all about those games at the end of the day, and that's going to be, whether it's successful or not, it's going to be based off of those games. The big system sellers like Pokemon, like Animal Crossing, like Zelda, like 3D Mario, like Mario Kart, those are going to be the titles. And of course, some of the other auxiliary games as well, Xenoblade or Monolith Soft titles, things like that, Fire Emblem, all of that plays a part into how the system does. And I think that Nintendo's trying to make sure that all of that is set in place with a good schedule. Furukawa is kind of crazy. He is a meticulous planner, and I think that if anything comes out of this, when it comes down to it, yes, you can be upset. Not saying that you can't be upset in terms of the delayed timing or when you felt it should come, but at the end of the day, you don't want to have them make a mistake that they made before and getting the system out there too early and having issues like the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS. So those are my thoughts on my Nintendo Switch 2 Armchair CEO Business Edition YouTube. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.